What's up, guys? Matt here coming at you with a brand new 1/10 scale truck from FMS. This is the FCX10 K5 Blazer, and this is the absolute best truck FMS has ever released. I'm calling it now. Let's find out why. All right, guys, so for me, this is the absolute complete package from FMS. They put everything into this truck. They took the scale details that we love and then mixed in all of the features that we would like to see in a 10 scale crawler like this. All the way down to the transmitter, guys. This thing is unbelievable. And we will talk about this more in a minute, but this is probably one of the best RTR transmitters I've ever pulled out of a box. It has a great feel and so many functions that we're just going to have to dedicate an entire little section of the video to talk about this thing. So first off, let's just start with this body. The looks of it, it looks amazing. I like the fact that we don't have dark tinted windows. Some trucks come with these darked out windows, and to me, it just really kills the looks of these trucks. These are more of a yellowish, brownish type sticker on here, which I can deal with. You know, it kind of looks like the sun's beaming on it or something. So I like the fact that they went with that. So coming down the side of this body, you'll see we've actually got marker lights, mirrors, and door handles. They're not just stickers slapped on here. They're actually nice pieces of hardware attached to the body, which are very easily removable. We've got nice chrome windshield wipers. We've got the roll cage with the light buckets on it. And these are not just stickers slapped on some light buckets. These are actual lens covers, which look fantastic. Now back here, you can see one of my favorite details that FMS put into this truck, and that is the badging. The rear piece there with the Chevrolet name on it, the Cheyenne, and the K5 Blazer badge up front are all thin pieces of metal, which really pop off the body. Now, unfortunately, the trim piece down the side is just a sticker, but it all works out well with the badging that they did include. As you can see there, it looks great with the chrome bumper, chrome handle, and the bed is painted as well. So this truck is loaded with options. You do have to bolt on the light buckets for the roll cage in the rear. It comes with this cap that you can also install onto this body, which would look really good. I just kind of prefer to run mine as a truck right now, but that would be a great option in the future. I like the fact that they didn't knock out the holes in the body. So if you want to run the cab, you will have to punch these holes in the body here and then install it. If you don't want to run it, you don't have all of these nasty looking holes here. That's why for now, I'm going to run mine as a truck just because I think it will perform a little better that way. So inside the box, we had a lot of stuff. Of course, we have the manual, which does have an exploded view of each part. So it makes finding parts very easy. We had a wheel wrench, the light buckets here, which we installed with the screws included. We got a couple trim pieces. I think these go like on the bed rails here. I don't know, honestly. The holes line up, so I guess that's what that's for. We got a free gift in here. We got inner fenders. I think I'm probably going to go ahead and install these. I think well, I'm going to run this thing in the creek and stuff. Just go ahead and have the inner fenders in there. We don't have to worry about as much dirt and mud and everything getting up inside of there. So that's a very nice touch that we just get that thrown in. And then, of course, we have the windows and stuff for our cab here with a few stickers if you want to throw that on. Okay, so one nice feature about this truck is the clipless body system, but it is a little bit of a pain to get working at first. I gotta say, as you learn where the tabs are and the plastic sort of breaks in, it seems to get a little easier, but at times it's a little tough. Now that we have the body off here, you'll see one of the best things that FMS included for free in this truck, which is insane at the price this thing's coming in. We have lights that are powered by magnets. So when you drop this body on, these magnets here line up with these and power your lights, which are included and installed straight out of the box. All connected to this light controller, which works straight off of the transmitter. I'm just amazed by the work that they are putting into this truck for the price. So here you can see we've got a lot going on. We've got our 2 micro servos running our lock and unlock for the front and rear diffs. Over here we've got one of these micro servos runs our high and low speed, so shifts the transmission from high to low. And then we have one that controls our dig unit. So this truck actually has dig on it. They have packed everything into this little truck, I'm telling you. It has the FMS FSR110 all-in-one ESC and receiver combo. This is 3S capable. I'm running it on 3S, and it runs very, very good. It's pretty silent, much more silent than like the Traxxas, in my opinion. Paired with this 550 21 turn motor, it seems to be really, really smooth. So we'll fire up the transmitter here. They did a really good job keeping all the wires kind of tucked in. Got wire guides here along the chassis rails. So pretty good wiring job in here. The power switch is nice and easy to get to with the body on. I don't know about once we put the inner fenders on there. We'll have to see if we can still get to that switch easily. But right now, the way it is, with the body on, you can reach this from underneath. You don't have to take the body off every time you want to turn the truck on and off. Now this transmitter, there is a lot going on here. First off, we'll start with this. This is the lights, so you'll switch those on or off when the body's on, obviously. This one, I believe, is our high and low. So that's high gear, switch it, we're in low. That's gonna sound a little bit loud. This is all metal gears in the transmission, axles, everywhere, all metal gears, full ball bearings everywhere. But you can see, pretty quiet. This close up, you're gonna hear a little bit of a ring, but very, very quiet compared to some. Seems to have a really good slow crawl to it for a brushed system. A couple more things on this remote here. We've got our locking and unlocking front and rear. So this is your front, this is your rear. You can control them both separately, so you can lock the front, leave the rear open. You can leave the lock the rear, leave the front open, whatever you want to do right there. I like that these light up so you know that you're changing something. Same with these on the side. Very, very nice transmitter here, I'm telling you. So right here on your channel 6, you have your dig. So this is four-wheel drive. Forward one is open, rear, which is sometimes handy to turn a little bit, but you don't want to lock the rear maybe. And then here we have rear lock. So it will lock the rear. Seems to work very well straight out of the box. Trim's all set well, so that's nice. It does have a nice foam wheel. I mean, I'm telling you guys, in hand, this thing feels great. I really like this transmitter. We've got our steering dual rates, throttle dual rate, throttle trim, steering trim. It actually has a drag brake dial here, so you can turn your drag brake up or down. I haven't played with that one driving, but look at that. So you can definitely tell a difference there. So if you turn that all the way down, it will let me roll this thing. Turn it all the way up, it locks. So that's pretty cool if you're trailing along and you're gonna be in high gear. See that? That's very nice. Very, very nice. Because you guys just seen it when I had that turned up. I let off that. That's hard on your gears, doing that all the time. So if you're trailing along, that's a really nice feature that I'm surprised is built into this, but it's amazing that it is. I'm just thrilled with this transmitter. I don't think the channel 9 and 10 here is connected to anything, but I'm still learning on this, so not quite sure. Dip switches here, it actually kind of tells you, which is very nice. I think these are just reversing for your 3, 4, 7, 8 channels here. It says this one right here, you can see it was switched down out of the box for me, and I had forward, brake, then reverse. So you're gonna wanna flip your first dip switch up for just forward, reverse, most of the time for crawling. And then this second one, this is for nickel metal if you're running an impact. And then this is for lipo. So you're gonna wanna switch that down if you're running a lipo. That basically lets this thing have a low voltage cutoff. So if the voltage gets too low on this battery, it will cut off versus just running it completely dead like you do with a nickel metal pack. So lots built into this transmitter. Very, very nice. Love the feel. This is huge. I mean, this is really, really nice. I am thrilled with that drag brake function. That's just amazing that is built into this RTR. So kudos to FMS. They have absolutely killed it with this truck. I'm telling you, it is very, very good so far. Now, I'm going to go run this, beat it up, bash it up. We'll see how it holds up. I don't believe this is waterproof. I didn't see anything on the box saying it was waterproof, so I imagine it's not really waterproof. But we're going to get it wet and see what it does anyways. Shocks feel great, as you can see. I mean, right out of the box, they feel really, really smooth. They feel just about right to me. Look at that. I mean, very nice. This thing is just set up so well. I am absolutely thrilled with this already. My only concern is this right here, where these shifting mechanisms are, locking mechanisms, I guess you would say. On a lot of the trucks, they're up top. Like I know on the Traxxas, the TRX4, and I keep kind of comparing this to that because they are very similar. That is up towards the top of the axle, so I'm afraid that's going to take a beating and possibly either get broke or just get tweaked out of adjustment or alignment. It is a metal piece here, so, you know, it shouldn't just break off or anything, but it is kind of down there in harm's way, so we'll have to see how that holds up over time. As far as everything else goes on the bottom here, we do have an aluminum skid, which is nice. We've got nice metal links. Drive shafts are plastic, but they are metal here at the ends, at the yokes, or whatever you want to call these, so that's very nice. I mean, most of the time you're not really going to strip these unless you're just really being very, very hard on the truck. This being more of a scale crawler, I don't think I'm going to have any issue with these drive shafts. Nice sliders here, plenty of room for mounting extra stuff if you really wanted to. So as you can see, FMS has thought of pretty much everything with this truck, and they've did a fantastic job getting it all together and to us. Let's take this thing out and see if it crawls as good as it looks. Okay guys, so this truck has to have a flaw, right? Unfortunately, I don't think I'm even going to get a run with this servo. So now if I start driving, it will kind of turn the tires while I'm moving, but as soon as there's any pressure on it, it's not going to do anything. So I'm not even going to get a run with the stock servo. So just know that if you buy this truck, go ahead and order a servo. I'll link a good cheap option in the description here, but I would just plan on changing the servo. Maybe it's just mine, but stock servos are known to be terrible, and this one is unusable. It's so bad. So that's definitely an issue. So I wanted to let this thing run for a minute without me blabbing in your ear, just so you could hear the truck itself. It is really quiet on the trail. It was nice just being able to enjoy the water flowing, not having to listen to a fax machine going on while this thing's running. Here you'll see I did do a little bit of water. I didn't go as deep with this thing as I did like the Traxxas because it's not technically waterproof. So I didn't really want to push it. I didn't want to tear everything up. You know, like there's a lot of servos and a lot going on in here. So I didn't just completely shy away from the water. You can see there, I almost got in a little trouble. but it did pretty well. The tires, they're pretty good, but they didn't like this loose stuff real well, or as well as the Traxxas stock tires. And we'll get more into a comparison of those two in another video. But overall, I was very pleased with how these tires ran, you know, going from the wet into the kind of muddy muck, and they always seemed to pull pretty well. I only had to hit high gear once, I think it was. Besides that, I would just kind of stay in the throttle nice and easy, and they would pull their way up. This truck is one of the first trucks that I've ever really took out of the box and not felt like, oh, I got to add some weight to make this thing do what I want it to do. I was very surprised at how planted and well it ran. Obviously, I was running the high trail at the same time, so that thing sitting higher was a little more tipsy. But still, comparing this to most any RTR, like, it felt really good. Now, I did a little more trailing than I normally do. A lot of times I'll take these out and just really hard on them, beating them on the tough rock. But this thing looks so good. I just had to drive through lines like this right here. I mean, there's just something so beautiful about this truck driving along the trail. And I feel like that's what a lot of people is going to do with this truck. But it is also very capable. It has the locking diffs and the dig and really everything that you need if you want to get a little more extreme with it. So the gearing felt great in this truck. In low gear, it had plenty wheel speed to do pretty much everything. I think I put it in high, like I said, once. But it's nice to have that high gear when you need it. But it has a good amount of wheel speed, even in low, on the 3S. So overall, I was very pleased with it. I did notice on my crawling course, when I was taking it kind of up some of the steeper stuff, the drag brake, even all the way up, wouldn't hold 100%. So you get a slight, a very, very light rollback, which is actually kind of nice. Some people prefer that because you can just kind of let off the throttle and adjust sometimes versus having to hit reverse. So it was very, very controllable. Out on the trail, I didn't even notice it at all. So very, very good job with the gearing in this. It feels as perfect as an RTR I've ever ran as far as that goes. Way better than the Traxxas felt to me, to be 100% honest. The slow crawl, you can basically get your comfortable slow speed, and even when you roll up against a rock or a limb or whatever and you get resistance against the truck, it will just continue to pull over it. Versus the Traxxas, I had to kind of give the throttle more to get up over things at times. So very, very controlled, and just the overall great feel. When I would pick up the transmitter to this truck, I was like, oh, it's like sitting in your favorite recliner. You know, you're just like, there we go. Like, that's what I'm talking about. So I was very pleased with just the feel of this truck overall. And obviously the look, man. Look at this thing. I love the look. I'm so glad I got the brown. I'm so thrilled they sent the brown because I just love this brown. I don't know why, but I do. I'm just going to be 100% honest with you guys, as I always try to be. After running this truck, I felt like I don't even need to change anything. Obviously, the servo, I changed that. I would highly recommend just get a servo when you get this truck. But besides that, the shift servos and everything, dig servo, all of that worked fine. Now, honestly, I didn't even use dig while I was out on the trail, but it seems to lock up fine. The open and locking diff, you know, that is a very nice touch, and I think would be a lot of fun to play around with, taking this thing out and maybe trailing along with open diffs, and then when you get, you know, in a tight spot or you start spinning, lock the diffs for that more real feel. So I love the feel of driving this truck. It is the best out-of-box trail experience I've had. I did really like the high trail, and we'll get into that when we do the comparison, which we'll be posting very, very soon. But overall, I did prefer this truck, and I just thought it was perfect. After putting that servo in there, I don't think anything needs to be changed. The motor and ESC, normally I get a truck like this, and I'm like, oh, it'd be so much better with a Fusion. And that's really what I was thinking with the high trail. This truck, I'm not even considering doing that. Like, obviously, it probably would be a little better, but it's not needed. like I don't need to spend that money until maybe this motor quits or something, you know. And then you're also going to have to deal with, you know, setting all your trims and redoing everything. And I really liked this receiver or this transmitter. I do kind of wish it wasn't an all-in-one, so we could keep the receiver, but I get it. It's nice kind of having it all in one package as well. So I think this truck is perfect. Now, some people were saying like the looks, the body, the bed should have been a little longer and that sort of thing. That's kind of all personal preference. I mean, you either like it or you don't. I love the look of this thing, and you can see it drove really, really well. With that 40 kg servo in there, you can stall it if you get it in a terrible spot because it's not an expensive servo. But overall, it ran really well. And Shift RC actually has a little cheaper servo that I think I may try in the Traxxas because I really like, I always get their monster 10th scale servo. It's like $150. So, but that thing is a monster. So I'm thinking about picking up, it might be the XB or something. It's like $60 maybe. So I may try that, and we'll do a review on that if you guys are interested in it. But once I changed the servo in here, this truck was just golden. Absolutely. It's definitely my favorite trailing truck, which I don't have a lot of, but it's really, really good. I just had a really good day out with this. You know, it's a lot of fun to get out with buddies and try to hit really tough lines and that sort of thing. But sometimes it's fun to just kind of go out by yourself and enjoy nature and drive tiny trucks, you know. And I just really had a great day out with both of these trucks. But in particular, I just really found myself wanting to drive this thing nonstop. Now, here is one spot where I did have to hit high gear. You'll see the tires, they just didn't handle this loose real well, but I mean, it's very, very loose and rough. I'm kind of bottoming the truck out a little bit there, and this is just some rough stuff. It's wet and mucky, and it ended up getting up it, and I actually looped back around and kind of hit it all one speed, about mid to closer to full throttle in low, and made it in low as well. But here I'd kind of got started and then got hung and was backing up, trying to punch it. And I ended up just putting it in high gear, and it made it up at fine. So that's where high gear is nice to have. I was very impressed with this line. Now, this is very, very tough, and it gets even harder at the top for this truck with the little bit of lower clearance. But I was surprised this truck made it up this. Honestly, when I came down it, I thought, I'm not going to be able to go back that way. Like, they're not going to make that. But it actually did. And you can see the servos working pretty well. But overall, the motor and ESC and everything held up fine. This is one of the only spots that this truck rolled on me. You'll see here, I'll just give it a little too much, got out of control. That's kind of a little more driver error, but I was impressed that this truck made it up this really on the second try. And that's why I say I really don't think it needs any weight or anything like that, because that's the only time I rolled it, like maybe one other time, but it handled very, very well. And you can see maybe some different tires. I think Deepwoods would even look good on this, and they really perform well in spots like this. Now up here, I did kind of hear the slipper whine a little bit. I got it in a really, really bad spot up here. I'll shut up and let you kind of listen to it for a second.
Ooh, that didn't sound good. Oh, no. You got this. Come on. Oh, tell me that ain't tough. Jeez.
So you can see I did roll it a few times here, but I kind of count that as one because I knew it was going to happen in this particular spot. Besides this, I didn't really roll it any that I remember. This thing, I mean, you can see it eventually just moves things out of its way and goes. I was just blown away by the way this thing ran, 100%. So coming in around $400, I think this is an awesome value. Even if you consider upgrading the servo, if you put another $50 in there, you're at $450. That's something you're gonna do in most trucks anyways. So you're coming out a little cheaper, and honestly, you don't have to change anything else on this truck. I feel like it's the perfect price, the perfect value. You know, FMS is not just giving it away, but they're not price gouging us for what they're giving us for sure. There's a lot in this truck. They've put a lot of time into the wiring and stuff, and it just works very, very well.
So if you're like I am and you like a nice little scale detail or touch to your truck, but you don't necessarily have to have a hard body or leaf springs or that sort of thing, this is a great buy. I was very impressed with this thing. Everybody I've let run it has been impressed with it. The last running clip here is my buddy Mike running it. I just kind of threw that in there at the end. And then after that, I give a few after run thoughts and details, and we do a quick speed run because this thing is insanely fast.
I thought you were going down. Nice. That's the only thing I've noticed. Like, you don't have to really hit reverse. It doesn't hold 100% at free rolls a whip. But it's actually kind of handy if you know it's going to do it. You don't have to hit reverse. You just let it idle back.
Thing's pretty good.
I think he likes it.
Not bad.
It's got pretty good approach angle too for having bumpers and stuff. I mean,
Well, it's good because you can always figure this one out. You have to turn a little bit or go the other way. Imagine how good it'd be with a good set of tires.
yeah, the tires are nice.
So I tossed the GPS in this thing just to check the wheel speed because it seemed really fast. And in low, we were getting a max of 5.2 mile per hour. That's really good for still being able to crawl well. This is all on 3S, but 5.2 mile per hour in low. We switch it into high and watch this. 12 mile an hour for this crawler. I mean, it's like almost some basher speeds. Look at that. The thing is fast. It'll actually pop some wheelies, and it can be a lot of fun in high gear. It is a little tipsy. We'll roll in the corners pretty quick, so be careful. You'll scratch that beautiful body up, but the thing is insanely fast in high gear. But it does have a slipper clutch, which you'll kind of hear when I go from reverse to forward. It slips a little, kind of keeps you from just destroying the driveline, so that's nice as well.
Also wanted to address one thing with this truck as far as these shifting mechanisms down here, because these were a concern of mine. I've seen people on Facebook saying that's stupid, whatever. They don't even own the truck yet. But, I mean, yeah, I get it. I would rather see them up top. But you can see I've beat this thing up. I mean, it's got some pretty good gouges in it. I've ran it on a little bit of everything. Obviously, it's going to get worse. But there's really not even a mark on that. Either one of them. Really haven't even took a hit. So it's not as big of an issue as I thought it would be. Not saying it won't be at all, but it's really not that big a deal. So here you can see the aftermath. The fender wells definitely did me some good. Kept all of that junk out of the inside of the truck. I wanted to talk about the servo. When you switch your servo, it's a very tight fit in here. Actually, the servo arm that came with this servo wouldn't fit. It was hitting the diff cover right there.
and I had to use the stock one. You could probably space your servo up a little bit off of the mount, put a spacer between the servo and the mount itself. But that is a very tight fit there. It doesn't want to fit the arm in between the diff cover. The stock one fit okay, and it worked with the servo, so I'll put it back on. This stock arm, the screw that they put into the stock servo has some sort of Loctite on it that does not want to give. I hit it with the MIP wrench. First time I turned it, it stripped the screw completely out. So I had to notch it with the Dremel to get the screw out. So maybe heat that arm up a little bit before you go trying to turn that screw, because the Loctite in there does not let go. Just a quick note for you guys, because I feel like everybody's going to be changing this servo. But you can see there, the flares did definitely help. Even though I ran this in a lot of nasty stuff, it kept the inside fairly clean. All right, for you deep dive sort of guys, a couple things here. They did give us a winch mount. Looks like a couple bolt holes where we can mount up a winch if we wanted to in the future. Here, I pulled these screws. You're gonna wanna grease this thing. It doesn't look like there's really anything in there. Obviously, it's best to do before you run it through the mud, but I did notice that there's really no grease in there. The other thing I wished this thing had was like a double cheer setup here where it was supported on both sides of the steering link. More than likely over time, as this takes beating on the steering, it's gonna strip this screw out. Usually these are supported on both sides, sort of like that. If you can see that. So you've got support on both sides of that link versus just one side here. So maybe down the road, we'll get some brass or aluminum ones that have the double support, or just being brass or aluminum, they'll be a little stronger. Didn't have any issue at all. I'm just afraid possibly we could. But besides that, the thing ran absolutely great. Very minor, couple things that I would consider changing. I'm pretty sure I did get water all the way up over this running board, and these servos all still work fine. Don't know that I got water up to here. I don't know, these wires feel kind of wet, so maybe we did, but and the sticky's not really sticking now, so I probably did get this kind of wet, and it all still runs fine. So I am absolutely thrilled with this truck. You guys let me know what you think. I'll link it in the description. Always, if you purchase through the link, it helps out the channel, so I greatly appreciate that. I'll link this servo and a few other things I'm kind of considering for these trucks. I appreciate you guys watching. Definitely stay tuned for a full comparison between these two and a lot more to come. Peace.